Yo, what's up everyone, LegendBegins here, and we have some special content today. I am here with the one, the only, Czar OTG, that stands for Original True Gamer, at least according to me. And he is a world champion Yu-Gi-Oh player. And the reason that's important is because he doesn't know how to play Pokemon. And so today we're going to run through Pokemon's entire ban list and see if he can figure out why each of these cards are banned.
The whole thing, huh? Every one of them?
Yeah. So, there are only about 20-ish banned cards in all of Pokemon.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell how blind I am going into this, because I had no idea it was that small.
Yeah. So,
Right.
we're just gonna jump right into it. Like I said, Czar is a Yu-Gi-Oh player, and always has been.
Forever.
Forever.
Actually.
Forever and ever. And so, it's going to be a little bit different for him to try to figure out which of these cards are... So, I've mixed in a couple cards that aren't actually banned. And we're going to see if he can figure out which are the ones that are legit and actually legal. So, are you ready, Czar 1 Tankless Galaxy?
I'm as ready as I am the true gamer.
Okay.
Let's get her going.
I like to hear it. First card is Archeops. So Pokemon is different from Yu-Gi-Oh! In the sense that it's not based on... Well, I guess it's kind of similar, at least how Yu-Gi-Oh! Was originally designed to be. That you would like get out weaker cards and then sacrifice those to get stronger ones. So Pokemon, as I'm sure you know, is based off of an evolution system that allows you to take weaker Pokemon and turn them into stronger versions of themselves.
Yes. So here we have Archeops, I'm assuming. Immediately the first thing I notice as a Yu-Gi-Oh player is he has an ability that looks like, to me, based on my knowledge, is what we call a floodgate ability. Locks your opponent out of doing anything particular, oftentimes something very important to a lot of strategies. So if all we're doing here is guessing whether this is one of the banned ones or not, I'm definitely going to say this strikes me as something that is old school and banned because of how powerful and oppressive it is as far as locking your opponent out. That's going to be my answer for this one. Not sure how important evolving Pokemon from your hand, cards in your hand is, but it sounds pretty strong to me based on my limited knowledge of the game.
You are correct! So yeah, in Pokemon,
Hey.
evolution is such a major part of the game because you can put out some strong basic Pokemon, but you're rarely going to be able to build a deck around that. Archeops was one of the first Pokemon to ever be banned from the expanded format. So it's kind of terrifying if you can get it out. Because at that point, you only have basic Pokemon on either side, and Archeops is just going to destroy all of them.
That makes sense to me. I'm glad he has respect in the card game, at least unlike the video games, but that's another topic, isn't it?
Guess so. For reference, for anyone wondering, I'm not a champion Pokemon player. So Czar has like a trophy that he got from a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, and as far as I'm concerned, that means he's probably close to the best in the world. But I have played both of the Game Boy Color trading card game video games, even the one that's Japanese exclusive. So I'm kind of a big deal in the Pokemon scene. That being said, wait, what?
That's pretty accomplished if you ask me.
They're fun games. I recommend them. The next one is Chip Ice Axe.
Alright, so look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, choose one. So you're stacking your opponent's deck, is what it says here.
Right.
Is what I'm guessing. Very good. I'm not sure if this is considered broken in Pokemon. It would be considered broken in Yu-Gi-Oh! But we don't have very many cards in the game to begin with that function like this, and the ones that do, I recall, are not on our list. To my understanding, Pokemon's much more, like, cards in this game are much more powerful than Yu-Gi-Oh! On like a card-by-card basis.
So,
I would wager that this is actually not on the list, just based on my limited understanding of the game, of course.
So for context, item cards in Pokemon are spell cards. You can use as many as you want in a turn, but they're usually not as strong as, say, supporter cards. Supporter cards are special types of trainer cards that you can only use once.
Yeah, once a turn.
Right.
Sure.
And just like in Yu-Gi-Oh, you draw one card every turn in Pokemon.
Yeah, so essentially with this, you can stack and stifle your opponent's draw step out of something they need. Which I honestly, I don't, like I said, I have a limited understanding of Pokemon, but I don't think this is busted enough to warrant being, like, you said there's only 20 cards on the Pokemon ban list. I don't think this is one of the ones that made the cut, honestly.
So believe it or not, Chip Ice Axe is banned. But it's only so it's present in this current rotation, I'm pretty certain. But it's banned from Extended because you can use so many other cards that effectively just lock your opponent out from playing the game that it would make it just completely not fun to play against someone who's using Ice Axe. And so you end up with a lot of cards on the ban list that are only banned because it makes it so you're the only one playing the entire game. And your opponent is guaranteed to either get bad cards or you can just remove their hand in turn 1.
Gotcha. Well, I know a couple things about that kind of strategy, let me tell you. Yeah, and I suppose it would help to know, too, what's the number of cards of, like, copies of this you can play in a deck? Because I'm actually not even familiar with that. 4 of this. Okay.
4.
In a 40 card deck?
60 cards.
60 cards. Okay. Yeah, that's not terrible odds of seeing at least a couple of this a game, so...
Yeah, so
I suppose that makes sense.
One feature in Pokemon is that you have a series of 6 prize cards every match. And so you just randomly pick 6 cards from your deck that are locked out, and then whenever you knock out a Pokemon, you draw 1 prize card. And so it adds an element of randomness that you have to design your decks around, because you're not guaranteed to be able to mill the cards you need.
Right. Okay. That makes sense,
Now, that being said...
I'm 1 for 2 here. I got a failing grade so far, but let's see if we can bring that up a little bit.
You know, it's this. You're used to it, though. 1 for 2 is par for the course.
All right.
Okay, next one is Delinquent.
Move it along, bucko.
Discard any stadium card in play. If you do, your opponent discards 3 cards from his or her hand.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think this card's name is accurate. Very, very degenerate, even. You could just change this card's name to degenerate. I would immediately say on the list for sure. Like I said, what's the hand size in Pokemon? Like, you draw the starting hand size 7?
6.
Okay, so 7 cards. You're discarding essentially half their hand at the start. And you could possibly even follow this up with a second one on your second turn. Yeah, I would say this is on the list. This screams card that doesn't let your opponent play the game if I've ever seen it.
Correct. This card is absolutely banned. So, stadium cards are the 3rd type of trainer card, and they're effectively kind of these permanent field effects. So you can play a stadium card, and it applies to both you and your opponent, and it only goes away when either player plays another stadium card.
Gotcha.
And so this lets you just remove 3 of your opponent's cards by...
Yeah, you could also remove your opponent's stadiums, too. I didn't even read the wording on this. Just any stadium in play, including if it's not even yours, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I didn't even catch that, and I thought this was broken. Yeah, this is absurd.
Next one is Flabebe. It is a basic Pokemon, so you can throw it out without having to do anything special.
Let's see.
So, one thing that's important to note, you cannot evolve a Pokemon on the first turn that it is played. You have to wait 1 turn after evolving it. That also applies to secondary evolutions.
With this one, you can. But that's its only notable ability, though. Now, I suppose this is going to be hard to judge without knowing what it's evolving into. But, just going based off what I see here, I don't see anything harmful here. I would say this is probably not banned. That's going to be my guess.
So this one is banned, but you are 100% correct that it is because of its evolution.
Okay, I figured as much.
So its evolution is a Pokemon that allows you to get rid of your opponent's cards because it evolves into Floette. And Floette's effect is, on evolution, your opponent ends up removing, I think they go down to like 4 cards, if I recall correctly.
In their hand?
Yeah.
Oh.
I believe they discard their hand and they draw 4. I could be misremembering. And so, Pokemon doesn't care so much about you being able to mess with your hand sizes, but they really don't like you being able to do that on turn 1. Because nobody likes 0 turn wins, more or less, or making it so your opponent has no chance of winning. And so Flabebe was banned in order to prevent you from just locking your opponent out at the very beginning of the match.
That makes sense to me. Yeah, if I had any reason to believe that this thing's evolution was as broken as it is, then of course I would have absolutely guessed that correctly because I'm an intelligent human being. But yeah, that makes sense to me.
Forest of the Giant Plants. So I like to think of this as when Patrick says, now here comes the giant fist with that same kind of rhythm to it. Forest of the Giant Plants! So this one allows you to evolve either player's grass-type Pokemon on the first turn that they play them. So, for example, if you play a Bulbasaur, you can play Venusaur or Ivysaur and Venusaur right away instead of having to wait 3 turns to do it.
So this strikes me actually as worse than Flabebe only because if for whatever reason any grass types exist in the game at all that have a broken evolution, they're accessible on the first turn. And I would imagine that grass type just doesn't suck in Pokemon, I imagine. So I would wager this is on the list if the first one was for sure. Yeah, that's going to be my final answer, is this is in fact on the list there.
That is correct. This is a banned card, and the reason just being that if it were allowed, everyone would just be playing grass-type Pokemon all the time.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
Evolution is just so useful. It'd be like getting an... this is going to be a bad analogy. It'd be like getting an Xyz monster for free, like whenever you want.
Well, we'll get to that when we get to my video. How about that?
If you're curious, you can definitely watch me guess Yu-Gi-Oh cards on Czar's channel.
Yeah,
that would be a fun one.
Come on over, check it out.
Check it out. Subscribe.
All right, so let's show me what you got.
Rayquaza Gx, a full art rainbow card.
Rayquaza's banned 100%. I don't even need to see the effect of Rayquaza.
So GX cards were introduced during the Sun and Moon era to simulate the Z moves. And what's unique about GX Pokemon, and EX for that matter, is that you draw more prize cards whenever you defeat one of these. So if you defeat an EX or a GX Pokemon, your opponent takes 2 prize cards instead of 1. And then if you knock out a VMAX, which is the same as like Gigantamax from the dumb Sword and Shield games, you get to take 3 prize cards for those.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes,
Gotcha.
Win conditions: take all 6 prize cards, knock out all of your opponent's Pokemon, or let them run out of cards. Those are the 3 major ways of winning the game.
All right, yeah, that makes sense. So let's see here. I'm reading this guy's ability. Let's see. 30 damage times the amount of basic, what's that, grass and basic lightning energy attached to your Pokemon. Okay, so he can hit very hard, I imagine. And
then his Tempest GX ability, he can only use you can only use 1 GX ability per game.
Yeah, and then discarding the top 3 cards of the deck. So I'm not super sure if milling is a powerful mechanic in Pokemon. I know it is in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's very strong, but in Pokemon I'm not super sure. But yeah, besides this guy milling just a couple cards and hitting really hard under the right conditions, which doesn't even sound like it's all the time, I would say this actually sounds pretty balanced. I'm going to go with a... after reading him, unfortunately, Rayquaza, I feel like you're not on the list.
Just for reference, did you read the Tempest GX attack?
Oh, no. Oh, never mind. This is banned. Draw 10 cards, huh? Yeah, okay.
Is that your final answer?
Okay, Rayquaza. Yes, that's my final answer.
Rayquaza GX is allowed.
Oh, really?
This is a basic Pokemon, so if you get this in your hand, you can immediately play it. And if you have a Grass-type energy, you could play this on your first turn. And draw 10 cards.
Pokemon, that's all I'm saying.
So in Pokemon, deck control, or being able to go through your own deck, is not as bad, I would say, as it is Yu-Gi-Oh! And like getting 10 cards, of course, is good, but it also burns your GX attack, meaning that you're never going to be able to use one again. And GX attacks are kind of meant to be busted. So that's the reason that this one is allowed. But how about this one?
Oh, it's the terrorist guy.
Sure. Let's just demonetize this one right at the beginning. Sounds good to me.
Hey, yeah, this isn't the beginning. We're like 8 minutes.
Okay, yeah, we're okay in the middle of it. Getsus. Your opponent reveals his or her hand and shuffles all item cards found there into his or her deck. Then draw a number of cards equal to the number of item cards your opponent shuffled into his or her deck.
Wait. So if I'm reading this right, correct me if I'm wrong. You're ripping your opponent of their entire hand, potentially, at least of their items, and then you're getting cards based off of what you take from your opponent.
Yeah, and you get to see their hand in the process.
Yeah, banned 100%, 1,000%.
Yeah, this one's kind of ridiculous. This one is super banned. Unfortunately, Getsus.
Oh man,
you're not sticking around with us.
I would say fortunately. I would hate to play in a game where this was legal.
Yeah, so supporter cards are usually pretty strong, but not this strong.
Yeah. No kidding, dude. Oh man.